The pick is in.
The Houston Rockets have made their selection in the 2024 NBA Draft. I'm Kylan Mills, and we are joined by Jackson Gatlin of Locked On Rockets. So glad to have you here, and he is going to break down the Rockets pick, third overall in the 2024 NBA Draft, presented by LinkedIn Jobs. Helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonnba. And the pick is Reed Sheppard out of Kentucky, the freshman, right about 6'2", 182, 20 years old, a 6'3" wingspan, averaged 12.5 points, shot more than 50% from beyond the arc. What's your take, Jackson, on this selection for the Houston Rockets?
First off, Colin, this is a fantastic pick for the Houston Rockets. They address easily the biggest need this team had last season. Their Achilles heel was a distinct lack of shooting. So adding the best shooting prospect in the draft was a slam dunk move. But on top of that, they're also getting a great creator, somebody who can create and facilitate for his teammates, both in transition and in the half court, understands how to leverage his shooting gravity to get other guys involved in the pick and roll, things like that, and an above average defender. He's a great defensive playmaker. He has great hands. He really understands how to read and react and is great inside of a team defensive construct. So there's, some people that were maybe a little bit down on him from his measurables, a little bit shorter, not a great wingspan, but I think that all the skill checks that you go through with him are off the charts. This is just a great pick for the Rockets.
Curious as to what you think his role would be immediately, because you've got Fred VanVleet already under contract, so there wouldn't necessarily be a pressure for Sheppard to come in and have to make an impact immediately, even though you think he has some potential. Maybe he comes in off the bench. Just kind of curious, how do you see him carving out a role as a rookie within this team?
Yeah, this Rockets team is definitely in win now mode after a 19-win increase this past season, going 41-41. There might not be an immediate spot in the rotation for Reed Sheppard, but Ime Udoka treats his lineup like a meritocracy where the best players get the minutes. We saw last season how both Amin Thompson and Cam Whitmore as rookies carved themselves roles in the Rockets rotation when we really weren't sure if they were going to be able to do so last year. So I fully believe that Reed Sheppard, with his skill set, his talent level, there's a very realistic possibility where down the line he could carve himself a spot in the Rockets rotation as kind of their tertiary ball handler or just the direct backup to Fred VanVleet.
It's interesting when you get teams who are in this win now situation, but also bringing in young pieces. Like, how much focus is there right now within the Rockets organization on also the development side of things and helping bring some of these young players along who they're drafting, while trying to couple that with winning now and continuing the direction this organization's been going?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's a great question. Rafael Stone recently addressed media and basically conveyed the feeling that, development is so much more than just the 48 minutes that you see in a basketball game on a night-to-night basis. It's about all the behind-the-scenes stuff. It's about practices. It's about film study, film sessions, all the things that happen, outside of the actual game environments for these players. And so even if the Rockets drafted a player and they maybe didn't have an immediate spot in the rotation, that player is still going to grow and develop and be nurtured just as well as somebody who's getting, 25, 30 minutes a night of real game reps elsewhere. And again, because of the way that Ime Udoka kind of handles his lineups, his rotations, I do think there's a chance for Reed Sheppard to break into that lineup, break into the rotation, and get some real developmental runway outside of just the behind-the-scenes stuff.
All right. Well, Jackson, thank you so much for joining us. And for folks who are watching or listening, make sure you follow Locked on Rockets. For more on the Houston Rockets, you can follow them on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Once again, Jackson, thanks so much for the insight.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Reed Sheppard from the Kentucky Wildcats can do just about a little bit of everything for whichever NBA team ends up drafting him. Hi, my name is Lance Dahl, host of the Locked On Kentucky podcast, and Reed Sheppard was crazy efficient coming off the bench at guard for the Wildcats a season ago, averaging 12.5 points, 4.5 assists, 2.5 steals, 4 rebounds, all while shooting 52% from three. I like to think of him similarly to a current Kentucky Wildcat in the NBA, and that's Cason Wallace with the Oklahoma City Thunder. 3-and-D, I think, is what Reed Sheppard could provide at combo guard. You could bring him off the bench. You could start him. And if you want to give him volume, if you want to give him a ton of outside shots, I like Klay Thompson as a spicy comparison because both of these guys physically very, very similar stuff coming out of the NBA draft. For more on Reed Sheppard and the Kentucky Wildcats, subscribe to Locked On Kentucky on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts.
For continuing coverage of the 2024 NBA draft, subscribe to Locked On NBA on YouTube or wherever you get podcasts, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.